Para break, vamos a invitar a Elisabeth Miller del próximo panel, Septet and Urban Planning. Come on, Elisabeth, please. We will continue without break because of time.
Welcome. Thank you, Maka, for that introduction. I'm going to talk a little bit about my profession. I'm a professional planner. I'm registered in Canada, and I work for the municipality of Saskatoon, the city of Saskatoon in Saskatchewan. If you can say that after this, I'm really impressed. And it's kind of right in the middle of Canada. We're a city of about 350,000. And we have a neighborhood safety program that talks about and is all related to planning, but works directly with the communities. So I thought this would be interesting. And I've heard more about urban planning and urbanism at this conference than I have at any of the other conferences previously. So I find that really interesting. And my talk today is, there's myself and Anna Broussard, hi Anna, in case you're watching. Who was unable to come, but helped with the presentation. And we wanted to talk about planners don't sort of practice crime prevention, but that planning is crime prevention. And what we mean by that is that what we mean by that is like, what is planning? Planning is, great places are held together by our experiences. They're mixed, they're diverse, they're connected, and in turn, they make for a more resilient community. Planning shapes the mix and the density, the spaces in between, the way places work, and the way we experience them. It also shapes the fabric of our city. And this is just a little graphic that sort of shows all the different types of work that planners can do. We have transportation planning, we have social planning, heritage planning, all of those different subcategories, I guess. And in Saskatoon, we all work together around safety. Sometimes it's hard to get the engineers on side, but we manage to persist. So the Canadian Institute of Planners talks about planners as safeguarding the health and well-being of urban and rural communities by addressing the use of land, the resources, the facilities, the people, the services, anything that somebody might need in a community. Planners work to improve our places, all the places that we live, the places that we work, and the places that we play. I'm not going to go into great detail about what planning is or the SEPTAD, but what I'm going to try and do is bring it all together. So we include in Saskatoon, we talk about first generation, second generation, and also third generation, although it hasn't been labeled third generation yet. What I'd like you to do is just turn to somebody who's beside you or find somebody who speaks the same language. And I want you to talk about this question for just a couple of minutes. How do you think planning can help make communities better? And by that I mean safer. So I'll give you 2 minutes and just just have a little chat. And then Matea and Mac are going to go around, and we'll just get a couple of answers from each side of the city. Go. Doesn't matter if you know anything about planning, just talk about what you think planning could do. If you're ready and you've got a couple of ideas, then please put your hand up and we'll come around with the microphone.
Okay, so I and Maca were partners. So what we thought of was first, of course, what is the use type, whether it's a mixed use or it has sectors which are institutional, industrial, blah, blah, versus mixed use. So that's something that's been discussed pretty much. So that's definitely for planners to do. Second is the identity of a place. So I think Maca will expand that more, and she can come to that. I'll finish the third point. The third point is pretty much what was my presentation yesterday about what is the nature of communities. Are they homogeneous, heterogeneous, and socioeconomically, how is the city planned? Is all part of planning. So I'll just let Maca expand on the identity part.
Yes, I have been involved in some ordinances in some towns that are touristic, for example, and they take much care about the font they use to name the streets, just to create like a visual identity. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, we talked about the importance of planning in terms of equity building. It can help you to plan in the ways that can help everyone in your community to achieve their full potential. So it's really important. It can help you to see the differences in your community and help how can you work all together to flourish. Yeah.
Elisabeth, here. Oi, eu vou falar em português. Eu venho de uma comunidade na Zona Leste e eu acho que se ela fosse planejada, ela ajudaria em segurança, em uma educação melhor e mais igualitária para todo mundo e, somando nisso, também um convívio melhor e mais segurança, que é uma das coisas que a gente está falando aqui há bastante tempo. Na melhora da comunicação, da segurança, e comunidades mais planejadas, elas podem, se planejadas da forma correta, com o orçamento correto, com a ideologia correta, elas podem ajudar na melhora da educação e na formação de uma comunidade virtuosa, que seria uma comunidade que está realmente conectada, não em setores, mas um país que é realmente um país, não um conglomerado de gente em periferias, poucas pessoas no centro. É isso.
Thank you very much for your time and effort. And I'll show you now what Anna and I came up with. So how is good planning crime prevention? Good planning supports community, which is key to neighborhood safety. It facilitates neighbors having a shared sense of responsibility. So if they have shared spaces, if there's places where they can, bump into each other, you have a park where the kids can play, and then the mums and dads can, sit on the benches and have a chat and learn about each other. The key is to provide places, spaces, and reasons for people to come together. Good planning can support or be a barrier to good planning. So it depends on how you design and what you're looking for. Eyes on the street are important. So if you've got really wide streets that are lined with tall fences and the houses are set back from the street, then you don't have very good eyes on the street. If you have narrower streets, the houses are closer together, closer to the street. Maybe they've got a porch, and this, of course, is a Canadian context. So I understand that it might be different down here. Spaces that are easy to read. So when people come up to a space, they know what it's for. They know what to do with it. They realize that this space is for this use. You have positive activity support in that area. If it's not looked after by anyone, then nobody looks after it. Space is defined, neighbors can watch out for each other. And again, that's neglected properties are potentials for assailants. The space belongs to no one, no one's watching it. Again, good land use planning facilitates community, and that came out in a couple of your suggestions. In Seattle, they noted a decrease in crime when community gardens were established. So again, community grows in community gardens was a quote from Jim Dyer, and he has some really interesting neighborhood work that he's done in Seattle. Good planning understands that street design can impact a community. So in planning, we've gone through a number of different types of planning. So we've had the grid pattern, we've got the modified grid, we've got a curvilinear. And in my community, for example, the couple of neighborhoods that have curvilinear patterns means that walkability is very difficult. So if you don't have a car, if you're on foot, public transit maybe isn't great, how are you going to take your kids to the park? Like, you have to walk forever, and if you got little kids, then that makes it difficult. Whereas if you've got shorter blocks and you've got spaces in between, you've got pocket parks, those types of things, then that brings the community together. Good planning supports mixing uses that provides eyes on the street both in the day and the night. And that's a real balance between having, say, places in a neighborhood where you've got mixed use, where you can walk to the store. Maybe you've got a little coffee shop. We have some places, business improvement districts specifically, that are adjacent to neighborhoods, you know, and they have the neighborhood pub and things like that, which also brings people together, maybe a different group. Good planning also focuses on livable communities, communities where people live, communities where people work, and communities where people play. Quality of life improves with good planning and creates spaces that enrich, uplift, and inspire the human spirit. So how can planning achieve this? And these are just a couple of things that we've come up with. Good planning can achieve good crime prevention if all the planners are trained. Like in Saskatoon, we've been training with Matea and Greg Seville. We have SEPTA training pretty much every year for the last probably almost 15 years. And we train all of our entry-level planners. And as it's turned out now, we actually are getting outside people. So we started out with mostly civic employees. And now we get private sector people. They'll say, I want to take your course. It might be an architect, or we've had people as far away as from Abu Dhabi who came to take our course in Saskatoon. So that was quite interesting. Involve the community in an authentic and meaningful way. So in Saskatoon, we apply our safety, our crime prevention in a number of ways. And one of them is through a program we call the Local Area Plan. And that's when we go into a neighborhood for anywhere from a year to 18 months, and we work directly with the neighborhood. So you can do things to a neighborhood, you can do things for a neighborhood, you can do it with a neighborhood, and the most sustainable is when things are done by the neighborhood. So we go in as a support, and we help them discover what they like about their neighborhood, what they don't like, all those types of things. And we talk about more than just safety, but everything's connected. So if you want to have a vibrant neighborhood, if you want to have a vibrant park, if you want people to come to spaces, it's got to be safe to get there, whether you're walking, whether you're taking the bus, or you're in your own car. And what we often say to the engineers is we don't care how nice the road is. Well, we kind of do, but that's not the main point. The main point is if it's not safe, people are not going to use those roads. They're not going to use your public transit. They're not going to use those things. So your lovely roads and public transit aren't any good if the spaces they want to go to they don't feel safe. We design neighborhoods and cities with appropriate spaces for people to connect. That means they have the right spaces in the right places. And so when we have a SEPTED review committee, so we review all the civic projects, and we'll get a neighborhood development, a new neighborhood development, so there's nothing there, it's bare ground. And so we have to look at those spaces. And it's a little more difficult because it's at such a big scale. So we have to look at, okay, where are the residential? Where's the mixed use? Where's the commercial going to go? Okay, we have a big clump of multiple unit dwellings up here. Is there enough park space for them? Or is there going to be conflict in the park or in the linear park or whatever if there's too many people trying to use it at the same time? So we want to make sure that we have the right spaces in the right places. Again, street design can have a significant impact on the sense of a community. If you've got high-speed traffic running through your neighborhood, maybe you don't let your kids walk to school. Maybe you don't feel comfortable walking on the street to the park because it's loud, it's dirty, it's noisy. And if your kids never learn how to walk to school by themselves, and of course, you've got to be safe, I understand that. But if your kids never learn how to deal with those things by themselves, then they don't grow up being aware of their safety and what areas they should be in and shouldn't be in. Mixed-use developments keep a place vibrant day and night. There's lots of places around here that are vibrant day and night. And what it does is it just extends the time that there are eyes on the street. And if you run into trouble, you can get help. Planning supports and encourages livable communities. So we want communities where people feel, they feel happy, they feel enriched, they feel inspired to work together. And with that, thanks, Mecca. So thank you for your time and attention. I know I just scratched the surface, but now you have an opportunity to connect with another discipline. You can go talk to your planners, encourage them, try and get them invested in crime prevention through environmental design. And sometimes they'll say, well, that's not really planning. And I totally disagree. I think it's planning, especially when you start looking at the second and third generation. In addition, I'd like to thank the conference organizers and SEPTED Brazil for hosting the conference.